Hello and welcome everyone to Ruslan Bortnik YouTube channel. My name is James Talberg, and as always, I'm here today with Ruslan Bortnik. Ruslan, thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, James, for this ability to talk with people about Ukraine and situation around Ukraine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important to just translate the information that we have. For those who are watching us for the first time, Ruslan Bortnik is a political expert, political scientist, and the director of the Ukrainian Institute of Politics. Ruslan, today I want to start with the general trends that we have at the front line. If there is anything dangerous for the Ukrainian forces, if there is anywhere where they have more positive trends, if you can just give us a general overview, I think in the 3 points that are the main points. I'm talking about the north in the Kursk region, south and east.
Okay, I will start, I think, from the end, from the south, because I think the most dangerous situation in the front line now is in the south front, in the region around the city of Ugledar. This region, I will draw down now this region. This region is the most dangerous place in this war these days. Why? Because it looks like the Ukrainian front and Ukrainian defensive forces are disintegrated in this area last days, and Russian movement to the forward was near 7 to 10 kilometers per day. And for the last 3 days, Russia captured the length of the territory for 12 kilometers, and in the front line in 15 kilometers. Russia captured more than 100 square kilometers in this direction. And Russian forces is closing to the surrounding one of the main city of Ukraine in the south of Donbas, Kurakhova. Now we see that Russia is trying to surround this city from the south, from the region of Ugledar, and of course from the north, from the city, from region of Pokrovsk, Ukrainsk, Gornyak. In this north part of this battlefield, situation was also very bad for Ukraine during the last days, because Ukraine lost two big cities. The Selido city, I will show you, Selido city and the Gornyak city. It's only for last 3 days. Ukraine lost these cities, and Ukraine is not also not able to stop this Russian offensive operation. If Russia will be successful in gathering and occupation this region, it looks like Russia is pretending for it, then the dangers will be much higher for the front line, because look, after the Kurakhova city, there is no one big settlement. There is only a small villages. There are only fields, and there is empty place till the Dnipropetrovska Oblast until Zaporizhzhia Oblast, and Ukraine could lose all this.
I want to interrupt you a little bit. Would you
Of
be
course.
able to paint for us the region of Donbas and see how close the Russian forces to fully occupy the Donbas? Because I can see that in the middle, there's that closing loop that they can close from the south and from the east, just like you were drawing the lines before, and they can fully lock it. But how far it is from the general Donbas region in terms of
I
the
will
legal.
try to do it. I'm drawing the borders of Donetsk Oblast of Ukraine. This is the border, very close border of Donetsk Oblast, and then so you can see, and this is a border between Zaporizhzhia Oblast and Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk. Here we have Donbas. Here we have a Dnipropetrovska Oblast, and here we have Zaporozhska Oblast. And so you can see that to the border of Donetsk Oblast, there is only 20 kilometers from this side, from this direction, and from this direction only 12 kilometers. So even this year, this battlefield, this front line, could move to the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. And moreover, it looks like the Russian forces is preparing a new offensive operation to the Zaporizhia direction. Zaporizhia, all this city, Zaporizhia, one of the biggest city of Ukraine, one of Ukrainian industrial center, is situated on the left bank of Dnipro River. So Russia is able to try to surround this city or to capture this city without crossing the Dnipro River, which is a very big river, which is very hard to cross in this war. So it looks like Russia is
I
preparing.
want to go back with you to the Donbas region. I want to clarify a couple of things. What are the chances that Russian forces can fully capture the Donbas region? Because obviously they're making it their strategic point. And what would that mean for the Ukrainian forces? Because you've mentioned that some parts of the map, there is 12 kilometers to get to the borderline, and some 20, some I'm assuming in the middle, the furthest point can be 50, 60. But if they're advancing daily or weekly 15 to 20 kilometers, it looks like they can do that by the end of the year if that trend will continue.
If we are talking about the south part of Donbas, it looks like Russia will be able to capture this for the next 3 months. I'm talking about the region of Kurahovo, maybe even Pokrovsk. But we also have the best prepared for defense part of Donbas. It's a Sloviansk Kramatorsk agglomeration. It's very good prepared for defense. And this northern part of Donbas, I don't think Russia will be able to capture in nearest future, talking this region. So I think Russia will try to capture this region, all the Donbas, till the middle of the next year, till the middle of 2025. And then Russia will be able to start a new offensive operation, a big offensive operation against Dnipropetrovsk Oblast or against Kharkiv, the second biggest city in Ukraine. And before the ending of Donbas, which is the main political goal of Putin, Putin claimed this goal, stated this goal many, many times. Before ending with Donbas, Russia will not force any big offensive operation, except a situation around Zaporizhia. Because I want to remind you that Russia included in Russian constitution 4 Ukrainian oblasts, Zaporizhia, Kherson Oblast, Donetsk Oblast, and Lugansk Oblast, and also Autonomic Republic Crimea. And so the Putin's goals is to capture all proclaimed territories, all announced Russian territories, and then maybe to make for Ukraine a new ultimatum about the capitulation in the war or keeping up Russian pressure and continuing Russian military intervention to Ukraine if Ukraine will not accept this ultimatum.
So obviously, if we talk about the worst case scenario for Ukraine and the whole Donbas region will be occupied, how Ukraine is preparing or should prepare to defend the regions that are close by. You start drawing the Dnipropetrovsk region, right? I think there's Kharkiv region that you've mentioned that can be next. How are they preparing their defense system if they do?
From many other ways. So of course, Ukraine is continuing our mobilization, and we are going to gather to our forces not less than 50,000 person per month. It's official statement, official goal. For example, Russia is gathering to military forces, mobilizing to military forces near 30,000 person per month.
In a month, yeah.
Yeah, and Ukraine is preparing a lot of lines of defense in Zaporizhia Oblast. There is a lot of line of defense, 3 lines of defense, and in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast also there is a lot lines of defense in different direction. Ukraine is building this defense line using the very hard materials, using the all possible industries, machineries, and so on. We are preparing to now we are preparing to defend Zaporizhia and Dnipro. And of course, the main count of Ukraine is growing up the military and financial support from the Western partners. Because if we will take into account nowadays situation in Ukraine, Ukraine is losing this war very slowly, very hardly, very long in time, if we are talking about time. But Ukraine is losing this war because from the beginning of this war, we lost from beginning of this year only, Ukraine lost 2,000 square kilometers of its territory. Ukraine lost 7 cities from the beginning of this year, only from the beginning of this year. In general, you can see the stat that Russia occupied 110, almost 11,000 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. It's much bigger, for example, than Hungary in Europe. It's like a few countries in Europe. And Ukraine is losing this war, so our count was of growing up this military support from the Western partners for long-range weapon, for additional equipment for our reserve brigades, for a new anti-aircraft system and non-fly zone on the territory of Ukraine, and so on. We were talking with you about it when we were discussing the victories plan of Mr. Zelensky. And if there will not change in the future, Ukraine can lose all left bank of Dnieper till even the left side of city Kyiv, if this war will continue for many years forward.
The North Korean soldiers are apparently already helping at some combat operations in the Kursk region. What is the situation over there? Is Ukraine still able to maintain the captured area? Are they still able to defend their positions? Or the North Korean soldiers are influencing rapidly the front line?
North Korean soldiers is just a whisper in our political discussion, because of course a lot of people and a lot of officials said that they are going to interrupt this war, to take part in this war, but no one have seen these soldiers in the war still. So we can't count this factor fully, because the influence of these North Korean soldiers depends on two main factors. How many there will be these Korean soldiers. So if there will be only a few thousand, they will not make a significant influence on the war, but they can help Russia to elaborate, to capture back the Kursk territories. And the second factor is also even most important. Will they come with their weapon? Or I'm talking about their own weapon, North Korean weapon, tanks, artillery, rockets, and so on, or if they will obtain a Russian weapon. But Russia is also feeling shortage of weapon. And if they will come to Russian lands and to take the Russian weapon, so they will not make very big influence in this situation. But if they will come with their own weapon from North Korea, without cutting the Russian reserves and so on, they can make a very big influence. Ukraine is preparing for this situation, and Ukrainian forces now is trying to hunt the Korean soldiers. The Ukrainian forces will try to beat these Korean soldiers as much as it possible, to do a lesson for Korea and for another possible allies of Russia in this situation. But for nowadays, we don't see the Korean soldiers on the battlefield. And I think this situation is more worrying, not for even Ukraine for nowadays, but for South Korea and China, because Russia can be used like a training lands, only exercise and camp, preparing camp. Yeah, preparing camp for these troops, which will go back to the Korea and which can make a great tension on Korean Peninsula, and it's also could be a game of North Korean government. Like Russian intervention of Ukraine, it was a methods of push to the West, to the United States. Russia tried to call United States to the negotiation about the division of zone of influence. So North Korea can use the situation in the same way. North Korea is preparing just only for their soldiers to make attention in Korea, in South Korea, and to call the United States also to the negotiation about the reduction of sanctions and so on.
You've mentioned before South Korea. South Korea is making, since the North Korean situation, soldiers a lot of announcements. One of their recent announcements is that they said that they want to cancel the ban of shipping and giving directly weapons to Ukraine. Is that a confirmed information that we can say that South Korea is actually looking to take off their ban and start shipping directly weapons to Ukraine? And if they do so, how would that impact potentially the Ukrainian forces? Will that make a big change, or that's just going to be, again, small shipments that are not going to make a big difference than local tactical advantages?
South Korea also analyzing this situation, and South Korea also can use Ukrainian side for preparation of their own militaries, their own army for the possible future battles and competition with North Korean army. And we don't know exactly what is the stage of the negotiation between Ukraine and South Korea about military supply. But to be honest, we need to understand that South Korea supplied a lot of ammunition and especially artillery shells to Ukraine in previous years. Because
they just did that for the party.
Yeah, but through the United States. Because, for example, South Korea sold to United States only in 2023 more than 320,000 artillery shells. And of course, then United States sold these shells to Ukraine. So there was a big cooperation between South Korea and Ukraine, but it was the cooperation through the mediator, through the United States and other Western countries. So I don't think that South Korea will be able to change this situation dramatically, significant. Moreover, South Korea is preparing for its own possible war, and she is not able to send a lot to Ukraine, soldiers, resources, and so on. But this situation with North Korea shows us that Russia is preparing a new military bloc, so anti-NATO, we can call it anti-NATO, and this war is becoming more and more international. More and more countries interrupting this war, taking participation in this war.
Ruslan, thank you so much for your points today and for your analysis.
Thank you, James.
Right, friends, we're going to be back next week with more updates about what's happening in Ukraine.
Bye-bye, friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Bye-bye.